the Facebook. It used to be called the Facebook back in the day. Jose, you were not born then, but
Nope, it wasn't.
it was called the Facebook. Do you know that back in the day? Jose Hernandez joining me here today. Jose, let's get this all started. I'm going to share this with the boys. And let me share this on your timeline as well, as we always go live in various different places here on the Siteman Softball podcast. So first of all, how are you? What's new? Tell me what's new in your world as we do all this good stuff and get everybody ready.
You know what, Dave? Nothing new, man. Just getting ready for the conference season, working. World Baseball Classic starts today, so that's why I'm rocking the Puerto Rican hat.
So how's Puerto Rico looking?
I mean, I think we're pretty good. I mean, we don't got Correa. Correa's out.
Right.
We lost another guy, I think Jose Madrina, I think is his name. He's a big prospect for the Twins. So, I mean, we got a couple. We got Baez, Lindor, Jose Hernandez, Eddie Rosario. So they're blonde again.
I was thinking about this with baseball. So first of all, are you a big baseball fan in general?
Yeah, big baseball.
You're a big baseball fan in general. So we'll talk about this. Just nothing to do with softball, but why not? It's a ball. It's a bat. It's similar. We're doing it. There's bases. First of all, what's your take, Jose Hernandez's take on the new rules?
We talking about the pitch timing.
Let's talk about the pitch timing.
The pitch timing. Man, it's a different ballgame. I think it's good. I mean, it's not. I don't know. It's a tough thing for me because, yes, the games got really long for me, but at the same time, as a hitter, just going through college ball and everything. I mean, now that I feel like I get rushed a little bit going into the plate. I mean, Max Scherzer did a really good job the other day just exposing the pitch clock. I mean, you only get one timeout. I think the guy stepped in there. He abuses one timeout because he paused so long. And by the time he hit that timeout, Max Scherzer came set already before the batter was back in the box and just struck him out right there. I mean, people getting struck out in 30 seconds is ridiculous.
Right. So to clarify on it, because, again, like I said, we were just talking about how busy everything is in the world right now. I know my world's crazy right now. Everybody's world's crazy. But just to explain it, too, for the layman's terms, the pitcher has how long to throw each pitch?
I think with nobody out, nobody on, I think it's 15 seconds. And then the batter has to be looking at the hitter within 8 seconds. And then with the runner on base, it's 20 seconds, I think.
So, but when we mean looking at the pitcher, do we literally mean like he's standing in what has to give an okay, or he's staring at the pitcher?
Yeah, the hitter has to be looking at, like, acknowledging the pitcher. He can't just be going through his routine in the box. He has to be looking at the pitcher within 8 seconds. If he doesn't, the umpire gets a little buzz. It's a strike.
Right, and that's what happened in that preseason game where someone was up with bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, and he wasn't ready. Is that what happened?
Yeah, he wasn't ready. That's what they came up with. Wasn't ready with that, and then he struck out.
Yeah, what's interesting about baseball, and it's funny because I grew up, obviously, big baseball person in St. Louis, huge Cardinals fan, still am. And it's interesting as, the years have gone on, to me, and I know this is going to be like blasphemy saying this out loud, I'm just going to say it, right, is that baseball for me has become a little boring, maybe as I get, I don't know, do I get more ADD in my older life? I have no idea. Coaching Kobe, he's just getting started, and my son, And it's interesting that, and trust me, I get the appeal of baseball. Trust me, I don't need to get a whole rant on this. God, Larson, I hope Larson comes on and just rips me one. You know what I mean? But what I found interesting was a couple years ago, there was a Halloween tournament in St. Louis I couldn't play in. I was hurt, and it was moved to a different field than it normally is, where there's baseball fields and there's softball fields, right? So you had like 4 fields going of men's softball and co-ed or whatever. It was men's that day. And you had like a Little League game, right? So I ran to the bathroom. I was coming back, and I was like, I want to watch this Little League game for a couple minutes. And the kids were probably 11, 12. I don't know. I'm not really good with ages, even though I have kids. They could be like 32 or they could be 6. I'm not sure. But I think they were like 11 or 12. And I watched the pitcher, and he throws a pitch, and there's a big delay. Gets the ball back. Waits a few seconds. Eventually, the batter, I don't even remember, walked, struck out, got a hit, doesn't matter. But I remember watching that field and then another field out of the corner of my eye that was men's slow pitch, okay? And 4 batters batted in slow pitch by the time one 11 or 12-year-old batted in Little League. Now, I understand that there's 2 different sports, 2 different appeals, 2 different things here. But for me, I was like, man, I'm having trouble at that pace. Maybe I'm just become a crotchety old man, Jose. I don't know. What's your thought?
I mean, I think it's gonna be good and bad. I mean, I think they could tweak the rules a little bit. I think some of this stuff shouldn't apply like eighth inning on, ninth inning on. I don't think those things matter. I mean, if we're in the playoff game and it's game 7, I better not see somebody strike out on a clock.
Right. I
Walk
mean,
on
I
a
do.
clock.
I guess I do appreciate, though. Do you appreciate at least trying to improve the game? I mean, some people make the argument you should improve it.
I think I appreciate it. I think stolen bases will go up too because they stop pickoffs too.
Right.
There's like a certain amount of pickoffs you could do too. So you can almost count as a runner now.
And I think, we harp on you, Trip, sometimes while you're on the show about stuff they try to do, right? But yeah, I think the intentions are positive, right? The intentions are, how can we make baseball more popular, more interesting to, I guess, a broader appeal? And, they might not get it right this time around. Like, they might not get it where it's perfect. It's going to have to be tweaked over years. It's just there hasn't been any major tweaks in baseball in a while. And so I think that there's going to be, of course, backlash, opinions, shenanigans. Do you know what I mean with that?
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. But now let's shift gears. We'll talk about the bigger ball. This is episode number 73 of the Siteman Softball podcast. I've got a male model here on the show today, and Jose Hernandez. So that's good. Talking softball with Jose here from Siteman Pure. Reminder, at Siteman Softball on Instagram, sitemansoftball.com/podcast. On, of course, the website. You can see all the places that we are at. I want to thank Siteman Cancer Center for their sponsor of this episode. We'll talk about U.S. Bank here coming up as we hop into some topics. We are live, so if you have topics, questions, thoughts for Jose Hernandez or myself, comment on there. We can see him up here on the screen. We are live here in a variety of different places here online. So first of all, Jose, let's talk about this. We're getting close here. You've been playing, though, a decent amount. Tell us about the tournaments you played in recently here.
A lot of the tournaments I've been playing here have been local, just some local open tournaments that Arkansas has offered. We've been down in Mansfield one time with a couple of guys on Siteman as well.
Yeah.
One that's most exciting is the Trip Roth next week. I mean, everybody's looking forward to that tournament. To me, best open tournament that's offered around. A lot of good teams, a lot of great players coming down. So it's going to be a good time. The home run derby's full. I mean, I just saw the post, I think just like about an hour ago. There's like 56 people in the home run derby right now.
Wow.
So
any of our boys in the home run derby?
We got Jagger. I think Jagger signed up. I'm trying to think. Drew knows this from the top. Drew said because we're called Roger Rabbits. Drew's our sponsor. So I think Drew said we got like 6 guys that are participating on our team in the home run derby. But I think for Siteman, I think it's just Jagger so far. I'm not sure if Keen signed up yet or not.
Oh, 2 tough guys right there. If you were to talk about high home run frequency guys,
oh yeah,
those are 2. Now, you know what I mean? I mean, Jagger, just let him unleash the beast, and when Brandon wants to hit him, do you know what I mean? There's I watched Brandon put on a clinic here at a Halloween tournament home run derby that thank God ended by him hitting 600 home runs because we wanted to play and we had to wait. We're sitting there waiting on the field for Brandon to finish destroying everyone, in that. So that'll be very interesting. Petrov says he is pitching to Jagger.
Yeah.
And we could see your name, Petrov, on there. He said he also signed to Petrov. But that's cool. Matt is a good home run derby pitcher because he knows where the guys want him to because he throws to the Siteman boys all the time. So that'll be really interesting. So the Trip Roth is a big tournament down Louisiana, correct?
Yep.
And what's the appeal of that one? I mean, obviously it's a preseason tournament. A lot of people talk up the Trip Roth. What's so cool about it?
I think it's just the vibe of the Trip Roth. I mean, the atmosphere. I mean, when it was down at Pelican, this is the first time they're moving it from Pelican to Monroe. Pelican started coming up with some rules and stuff, and they just kind of restricted it. So you didn't get the vibe or the atmosphere like last year, but this year I think it's going to be back. I mean, you got co-ed going on. You got the home run derby starting at 6:30. I think at 3:00 they're doing a bat demo. So a lot of manufacturers are going out there. DJ is going to be out there for the home run derby. I mean, there's always food. It's a blast. I mean, it's just a good time to be out there and just enjoy the time. I mean, the drinking atmosphere, softball players, they like to drink a little bit and just get out there and just enjoy a good time. So most of the time, the men's and the women's open will start Saturday, and then they run that co-ed all night. So it's just a good atmosphere, and you just see a lot of good competition coming through. I think it's the last big open tournament to me before the conference season starts.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and then we're obviously getting together for our tournament on March 24th, but it's always good timing of this one right before the season, so it gets a lot of people going in there. Just curious, when you go into a preseason tournament versus, say, our first major tournament, which, of course, is the Duel in Florida, the Hall of Fame Duel, when you go into something like this, do you have a different approach of any kind when you go into this? I mean, obviously, you're a competitive guy. You want to win games. We know that. But you're also playing center field usually, and you're going to have a lot of miles on those legs, and you're getting swings in a game environment. But what's your kind of approach, or is there a different approach in a preseason tournament versus when you get into the main event?
I try to keep the same approach most of the time. I mean, I'm just going to give effort. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm honest on here. If it's rain on the ground and it's muddy, you ain't going to get the best effort out of me in center field. I mean, most people always make fun of me for it, but I'm not going to go out there and get hurt in a preseason. Now, if it's Siteman Softball, I will say that might be the difference. When we played in Illinois, it was muddy, wet. I'm going to give full effort for our team because that's just how I feel. I'm not going to go out here and get hurt.
Risk injury in a meaningless
tournament. But I think the cool thing about the Trip Roth is I think they're going to put us on baseball fields to play on. So it's going to be a good test for me personally in center field, like to see if all the stuff I've done in the off season to get prepared, like just to get that good preparation for the Duel, because the Duel is a long haul. I mean, it's the toughest tournament to me. It's the most taxing tournament on a outfielder.
Right. And the Duel is going to be interesting because obviously this is the hope. This is the hope. We don't know until we go down there and play in the damn thing, right? But you're hoping to play a lot of games. And it is that's every tournament, right, for us. But like, especially getting it out of the gates, you want to have a good one with the Duel. Hopefully, 2 good duels, right, which is difficult to do, very difficult to do. But you're going to have a lot of games, and you're going to have a lot of. That's a tough environment down there in a short period of time. So it's going to be interesting to see. We were talking about this before. I think David Barr and I were talking about this on the podcast. A few other things about there's going to be a lot of, knock on wood, hope it doesn't happen to us or really anyone, injuries and situations going on at that Duel, especially if people think they can come off the couch and try to play.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need everybody. You need everybody from your roster ready to go at all times. Anybody can be utilized. I think that's something people tend to forget about the Duel. I mean, I've been to the Duel a couple times just coming off the bench, and you never know where you're going to be used. I mean, I've gone to a Duel where I don't start off in the beginning, but like game 4 or 5, I'm in that game starting and stuff like that. And I mean, and I think one of the biggest things about the Duel is you're either going to hit good or you're going to hit bad. I mean, if you get out of the Duel to me at 600, it's not bad. I mean, I'll take 600 to get out of the Duel. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that. Like, there's some people that know how to hit in Florida, and there's some people that can't hit in Florida. I mean, so it's just one of those things where it's like the next person up. I mean, there's 4 guaranteed games. I mean, if you ain't got it, I mean, you got to trust the person behind you to pick you up. And I mean, I always give the example from last year at A Worlds. I mean, I showed up at A Worlds. I don't know what was wrong with me. I didn't have it that day, though. I didn't have it the first 2 games at all. And Sage came in there. I encouraged him, and he came in there and backed me up and did a great job. And I think that's something that I think as a team, we're going to do a really good job this year. I think we're going to trust the person behind us, whatever position we're in.
And this year, based on a quantity standpoint and also just, where we added, where we changed some things, we've talked about this multiple times on the show. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of depth everywhere, and that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be interesting to see within the team some kind of healthy competition for some stuff. And also knowing, I think the nature of our team is people rising to the occasion versus like concerned about it, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to be ready to go for 2 things. One, you want to be the best guy, right? So that you play. And you also, but what's also kind of nice about it, put this in air quotes, is that you also know that if it's just not the day, it's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen to everybody. Do you know what I mean? You hope it doesn't happen often, but it's going to happen to everybody where it's just not the day. The ball looks like a pea. Do you know what I mean? No matter, or you hit it, wherever you hit it, there's a guy. It's just one of those days. The legs aren't working. Something's going on. The good news is we almost at pretty much every single position, we've got someone high quality that can come in, and that's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? So you don't have to sit out there and try to – sometimes there's time to fight through, sometimes there's time not to, right? And so that'll be kind of cool to see this year, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think it's pretty exciting. I mean, we got so much depth. That's going to be awesome to see.
I love it. All right, shifting gears. You mentioned bats here for a second. You got your new bat. It's coming. It's come to you, right? Your brand new bat from Matt has gotten there.
Yes, but I swing kind of different. So I swing the one pieces. So I've been swinging more one pieces.
Okay, so tell me what are you swinging? What are we swinging?
I'm swinging the 27 balance integrity 2. So that's the one I really like. And then I've tried the MDM1, the 27 ounce balance one piece. So I'm just a big one piece fan. So there's nothing, no problems, nothing against the two pieces. The two pieces look really good. I just for me being comfortable, I've always liked that one piece. And me and you discussed this last year plenty of times too. That we both like that one piece barrel.
Yeah, and I like it's funny because I go back and forth, but I certainly understand the appeal of the one piece, and also obviously a lot of it has to do with comfort, as well.
Yeah.
Curious because I'm also right now swinging a 27 balance, which I'm really enjoying in a two piece. Really liking a 27 balance. You've gone back and forth, lots of different things. Are you just preferring balance fast at the moment? Do you go back and forth? I know you used to use end loads as well. What's kind of your thought there? Does it depend on the bat?
I think it just happened in a moment. I think last year after Cincinnati, I just couldn't find it. Went back and looked at some videos, and I think the last time I was just like pulling the ball great was with that Proton that we had in Euless. I was pulling the ball good, and I said, found a 27 balance laying around. One of my buddies had it, and it was a pure, and I was like, you know what? Let me try this. I tried it, hit off the tee, and then I ended up taking it to Indiana. I just felt comfortable ever since with it. So now I'm just a big 27 ounce balance one piece guy. I just like them now.
I like it. And what I've noticed, and maybe I haven't swung actually the one that you have, but what I've noticed, and I mean this in a good way, with a lot of the pures, at least the NDMs as well, the balanced, it's not 100% balanced. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like there's like no matter what, it seems like a little bit of an end load help you out a little bit there. I mean this in a good way. Like it doesn't feel like you have like a twig that you can just fly like a wiffle ball. It does feel like it's got a little bit on there. Does you just feel like that as well?
Yeah, I agree. It feels just like that. And then I think it's just a comfort thing. I mean, I just like the one pieces. I'm rolling with them and stuff. So I know a lot of people have talked about that white MDM1. I know a lot of people have said that thing's fire. So I haven't got my hands on that one yet, but I know it's fuego. It's out there. A lot of people are recommending. I know they pretty much sold out pretty quick.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's gonna be really cool to see. And then what I'm also looking forward to throughout the year is just, and this is just for our own knowledge as we go, is, how many tournaments do we get out of the bats? Do you know what I mean? Last year we got a lot out of them, and I expect it this year too. Occasionally, obviously, you're gonna fail one here or there, but they did a tremendous job of holding up last year. It'll be really cool to see how it works out this year as well. For those joining us right now, joined by Jose Hernandez, center fielder for Siteman Pure. And by the way, we normally have a topic of the week, but it's really an interview or conversation of the week here, brought to you by U.S. Bank. Strong partnerships are based on communication, trust, and taking time to listen to your unique needs and financial goals. At U.S. Bank Private Wealth Management, we are dedicated to providing you customized financial strategies. Visit us at usbank.com/privatewealth. Equal housing lender, member FDIC. So I appreciate you being here, Jose. How's my read? Was that pretty good sponsor read?
That was pretty legit. I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay, pretty legit. You're pretty ready to go. Let's see here. Let me see. Drew's making some random comments on here as well. Dominican Republic is gonna win the WBC. Sorry, Jose.
That has to be Vlad or some Dominican. I mean, there's somebody on there. Talking.
You like Puerto Rico better on that one?
The DR is loaded. The DR got a whole MLB roster starting and closers. So I mean, they're gonna be tough. I think they're the number one ranked team going into the tournament. So
all right, we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna be watching as well. All right, so really quickly here, update Jose. I'm gonna put this on the screen here so we can take a little peek at it. Updated teams and conference. So we are coming to the deadline here. Today is March 7th. Teams have until March 15th to get all their stuff in, which in softball world means March when they have to get their stuff in, right? It's supposed to be the 15th. But as we know, the hard deadlines in softball occasionally turn a little bit flaccid, a little soft. So let's get into that a little bit here, Jose. And I want to hear also intel from you guys, and all that kind of jazz, and we'll kind of go through it because I've seen a couple interesting things, and I'll show you this as well. All right, so let's share my screen here. Can put this on here. Jose, I want to make sure you can see it here too, right? You can see this?
Yeah,
Go to
right
conferenceusa.com, okay? So we're going to start right here, and I'll show you why we're starting right here. We're going to go right here into event details, and we're going to look at who's coming with the membership fee. We're going to start here. We're going to go back to the old school website. So these are the teams that have paid, okay? You can see them on here. Classic Glass, JBL, RoofX, Seminoles, West Point, Resmondo, Aristotle, Cheap Suits, LNS Glass, NFM Lending, Siteman Pure, Straight Play. Okay. We'll get to the total amount here. Now, this is something interesting here, okay? I did not know this team, Jose. There's another B team, but they accidentally signed up as B, not Conference B. So this is Beloli Bros, HVAC, KL&R Construction. So it looks like they've signed up as an alternate B team. From what I know about them, Jose, I don't know if you know much. I believe they're the team that did not make it down to Worlds last year. They were called KL&R Construction. I don't think made it with the weather situation. You know anything about those guys?
I have no knowledge. It'd be cool to see if anybody else has knowledge on here. I have no knowledge on them. I mean, that's a surprising team for me. I mean, which is good for the conference, though. It's good to see these teams starting to step up. And I think that's the biggest thing that B conference, the alternative, offers. It gives those teams a shot to get in there.
Right. And what's interesting here about that team, now I don't know because I remember they had the KL&R construction team last year, I believe was based out of Connecticut. I'm assuming this is the same or similar team. I do know that team had some success at conference events last year and had a few veterans on that team that have played in the conference. So I'm assuming that could be a similar team. Should be a pretty decent, solid B team. That's my guess. I'm sure people can give more intel on that. But, Jose, I don't know anything else here, but there's that Beachy's construction team that is just not listed as paid, but there's only a small handful of B teams. Small handful of B teams this year. So, all right, so the only one on that list that is not listed here is that new team, Beloli Construction or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to add them in as one, right? Now, in the last week, if you can see here on the screen, Primetime signed up twice. I don't think they have two teams. But Primetime, they're in there twice. That's one Primetime team. Yep. S&E has gone in there. Our good buddy Joel Sanchez, they finally got it together. I know they've been teaching Elvin over there the internet, so that's good. Have you seen this team at all, Jose? I mean, they look like a very solid AA team. What are your thoughts on them?
I mean, they've been solid ever since. I mean, the first time I saw them and really got to see them was with Seminoles. We got to face them, I think the third place game in Vegas. I mean, they've been solid since. And I think the biggest thing that team's done, I mean, they've kept their core guys. They kept some of their core guys. I know they lost some of them after my Seminoles year, but I think they've regained some of them back. And they're just a solid team. I think them and Chick-fil-A are, to me, one of the probably they have the most chemistry in AA. Like most of the teams have played together. They know each other well, and they've had experience in AA. So I see them making a pretty good run in AA this year.
Yeah, they should be solid. And it's interesting. We know of, we haven't had evidence of them signing up yet, is that Bay Area, Bob Ford, 17 other team combination of guys that mostly played major or AA last year. But we've heard about that team. That team's not signed up. I'm assuming they're going to sign up. I can make that assumption, right? So I'm going to put them on the haven't signed up yet list as well. We also have this Rebel team, another A team coming out of Michigan. Some veterans on this team as well. Do you know much about them, Jose?
The one time we played them, we played Rebels. We played them in with Seminoles of the Smokies. We played them. They've been always a solid team. I think I don't know the sponsor's name. I remember. I just lost thought of his name, but he's been a long time sponsor, the Rebel guy, at least. I know the Rebel guy.
Is this the guy? Is this James? Is it Rippy?
Yeah, I think that's him.
Okay, that's our Rebel guy. So another A team as well, right?
Yeah, he always put a good little squad together every time. I think Eric knows a couple of the guys too from out there. So,
okay, very cool. So we got Rebel as well. So if we get to our count here, and then we'll go back to some commentary. And let me know, folks. We're getting down to the nitty gritty now, Jose. We're not messing around. I'm gonna go back to this is gonna be a super meta screen here for a second before we do our count. Let's see. I'm here now. Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna go back to our count now. So we know let's put these all on one page.
Yeah. It's
amazing how you still have to use math on this because teams have signed up in the wrong spot or signed up twice. But welcome to softball, right? So all right, so we know that Bololi team, they're listed. We're gonna call them 1. We've got Rebel, S&E, and Primetime. We're now at 4. Platinum Fire is 5. NF Lending is 6. Monster 7. Aristotle 8. Nitro Circus 9. Beachy Construction 10. Competitive Edge 11. Van Worked Fritters 12. Cheap Suits 13. EAS 14. And notice how there's 2 EASs there, right?
Yep. Well, something went wrong, didn't it? I think we lost Dave. Or y'all lost me. I have no clue. Someone can hit the comments and see what's going on. Oh, yeah. So we lost Dave. So you know what? The show belongs to me now. I'm just joking. I think Dave will be back. I have no idea. But Dave was just showing y'all all the lists and everything. So
Epic 29, Siteman 30, MPT Rentals 31.
We lost you for a second, Dave. I don't know if
Did
you heard. Yeah, we lost you for like a nice solid 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, oh wait, I'm back now, right?
Yeah, you back now. I think everybody can see you.
Okay, that's cool. Well, listen, I just wanted to not bore you with the counting is 31 teams as of right now. 31 teams, Jose. 31 teams, not including that team with Jason Branch and those guys, etc. Right now, also, I was told there's another Texas team. I think it's Vivid, maybe, that is supposed to be a team. I don't know much about that. I know Brandon Miller's mentioned that a few times here on the show. But we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, folks. So I don't know who else is going to sign up. What is your guess, Jose? How many do we end up with? We're literally at 31 right now.
I'm going to go with a solid – I'm just going to be right in the middle. I'm going to go 35. If they hold the deadline, if they hold that deadline solid, I'm going to go 35. Maybe like 4 teams start getting in there. That's including –
That's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of teams. I mean, a lot of people thought it would go down.
That is, I mean, it's down, but I'm saying like that's a lot of additional teams, 4 more from what they have. We know there's gonna be at least 1, right? So and then there's gonna be someone we have no idea, we've never heard of, that are gonna sign up 5 seconds before. It'll be interesting, but yeah, I mean, you're probably looking. My guess was 32 a few weeks ago. It's probably gonna surpass that. I don't think you get over 35.
Yeah, that's the max.
I think you're looking at 32 to 35. I think that's a range. Down from 40, 3 or 4 last year. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think that's going to be a solid amount.
Yeah. Like you said, the biggest surprise is like the B teams. You said there was like 5 only signed up for the alternative.
Yeah, there's 5, maybe there's going to be maybe 5, maybe 6.
So it's way down compared to last year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all comes up. So as we get ready here, I mean, you're finishing up the preseason stuff. Anything else you're doing to prep for the season, or is it now just kind of getting into game time and getting ready to roll?
For me, it's a lot of game time. I started running more, doing hills. A lot of it's just maintenance, working out now. Just making sure the work that you put in the off season is starting to work now, and just. I mean, I think the itch is starting to come back, too, for all of us on the team. I think all of us on the team are ready to see each other, get this bonding going. I mean, most of us have all played for each other, but we do have new teammates this year. So it's going to be nice to come down to Arkansas and just get it going, honestly. That's what I tell everybody. It's just you got to get going, get used to each other, and start having fun. I mean, to me, if we're not having fun as a team, I mean, you're never going to win if you're not having fun doing it.
Right.
So.
March 24th is going to be fun going down in Arkansas. And, again, that tournament is an open tournament. So, if you have a team or you want to come on down and play us down there in Arkansas, it's going to be a good time getting together. Yeah, definitely feel that itch. It's funny because anyone I talk to outside the slow pitch softball world, which, it's most people, right, that we talk about like what the conference is and what we do, et cetera, and where the guys are from and how it all kind of works, because people are very curious, once they learn about it, like what is this and how does it work? The number one question that comes up, which is kind of interesting, is always, how do you guys practice? Right? And the answer, of course, is we don't practice as a team because you can't. Meaning like it's essentially almost like a Olympic team or something like that, where you're at your own different places and then you come together to play. You're responsible for your prep. You're responsible to get ready, and like you'll either be ready or you're not. Now, of course, there's the intangibles of how the team gets along, the chemistry. We all know that's going to be great, but yeah, we don't fly Brent in and David Bear to do drills here in St. Louis. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just not a feasible option. And the good news is we all know that works though, because look at the top teams, look at the top major teams. They're not going to see each other until probably day one, most of them.
Yeah.
I mean, is there going to be a major team essentially, or is it just all pickup teams down in Trip Rough? Do you know?
Maybe Competitive Edge will be there. I don't know if they're bringing everybody down for that team, but normally it's kind of like you said. A lot of them, I mean, a lot of their buddies are. I mean, sometimes those major players are just all playing with their buddies at the same time. So it's kind of like you said. It's just a lot of prep work. I mean, sometimes their first tournament is Vegas or something, the first conference event of the year. But I mean, I think people have to realize it's a marathon in the conference. I mean, you want to get better each and every tournament, and I think major teams do a really good job at that. I mean, they get better every single tournament, make those adjustments, and then boom. I mean, because at the end, you could not win the regular season at all, and if you win the major World Series, that's all that matters.
Right? Would you take? Yeah, I mean, you could make that argument. And this year, it's interesting, and this is something that kind of was brushed aside, but an interesting fun fact this year, right, is that there really is no bonus to get it. Like the last chance tournament, the conference championships, I guess they're calling it again this year, maybe. You can qualify from there, but you're not going to just have one good weekend to get in.
Yeah. Right.
So like that idea is gone. It used to be, as you know, the qualifier, the highest finishing non-qualified major World Series team that could play in the major conference team gets that 17th spot, and then the 18th spot will go to a military team, right? Now, those last two spots are just those last two spots. They have nothing to do with that tournament. However, the tournament is a must-attend for anybody that plans on playing the Major World Series for the most part, because you get bonus points. That's a new thing this year. So meaning like you get your eighth event points by going to that tournament. And if you don't go, that's a zero effectively, right? For that thing. It can make or break several teams.
Yeah, and then you could get jumped too, right? If you don't show up, you could get jumped in points, correct?
Right. You can absolutely get jumped. So, I mean, there could be, if you don't show up, you could get jumped. Teams could go all over. It's going to be crazy, right? First of all, do you like the idea that there's not a military team and not a like last chance qualifying team from that tournament? Do you like it, dislike it, indifferent? What's your thought on
it? I mean, I like it. I mean, I think that there was nothing against the military team. I just think adding that extra spot, I think, helps. And so correct me again. So like the last chance, when I remember the last chance, it was if you weren't qualifying for the major, correct, and you finished topped.
Yes.
If you get into the major. Is that still applying this year?
No.
Okay,
and that's kind of the point. So meaning like that's how it worked. So if you were not qualified for the Major World Series, whoever the last team was, you know what I mean? Like meaning the highest finisher that's not qualified, they are the 17th spot. What happened is the last time that or I don't know if it was the last time, I think it was Slugger. They had an A team, right? And had I think an okay year or whatever, nothing too fancy. I think they played in a good turn. I think they played well the tournament before that. I don't remember what it was, but before that, they were just kind of obscurity. Go in there, have a heck of a weekend, slip in there in the major in the 17 seed, right? Stroh said to me about it that really they're looking for a good season, not a good tournament. And that's why they're kind of doing it. And I understand that argument as well. To to play devil's, I'm trying to think of my opinion on it. I think most teams should have to qualify the way it should qualify, right?
Yeah.
But I do think maybe there should be that one spot for someone like Cinderella that somehow gets it done in that last spot.
That's what I like about it because I think SVC got hot. I remember because we played them that was our first game for Seminoles. And I mean, they beat the brakes out of us. And I'm talking about they went into that tournament and started beating the brakes out of everybody. And they ended up strong. I mean, I think they won GSL A Worlds. I don't know how they did it A Worlds, but the Major World Series and all that. So
I think won a game, maybe even 2 in the Major World Series.
Yeah, so I think it's cool. Like those are kind of cool things to see.
I mean, I think that's a very good point, Jose. I mean, because I think if I were to do it, here's what I would do: 18 teams, great. Okay, 17 qualifiers. Do you know what I mean? Including, I like the bonus points. That's cool. Do the bonus points. Do you know what I mean? For the last one, that's great. Top 17, including the bonus points, that's in. But I think you leave that last spot, I would at least, for some kind of potentially magic moment in there. Because here's the interesting thing. Conference championships in Indianapolis here, when we get there, if you're not in the running at all, there's no reason to show up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so let's just, I mean, if you look at the paper and you go, well, we have to beat every major team and then we have a chance. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're going to have people past that last line. I'm not talking about teams very close. I'm talking about a little bit below that. They're going to be like, screw this. I'm not going to this.
Yep.
Right? If you had the chance to, hey, let's do one awesome weekend here, I think you almost get everybody.
Yeah, I think so. And especially like if the 17 teams are in there, it don't matter about those 17 teams. You just got to beat the other 8 that are left in there. If you finish higher than those other 8,
that's all you got to worry about.
That's all you got to worry about. You got to worry about 8 teams. Now, it all depends, right? You don't ever know who you're drawing. I know sometimes in these conference championships, some teams don't start their starting pitcher. It all depends. That things factor, but which it's totally understandable. I mean, you got your main guy on the mound. The last thing you need to do is get him hurt in conference championships if you're already locked into the major and things like that. So there's different takes that I've heard over the past, just like through veterans that have told me sometimes why. And I think, and maybe that's one thing too, I think they're trying to put more emphasis on the conference championship to make it more competitive because sometimes people do relax more, they play back and stuff like that. I mean, hell, another good thing maybe, I don't know if this is true. I can't be 100% true, but I think in my Seminole year, I think your stats were already locked in. So when you went to conference championships, it didn't matter what you did. Like your regular season stats were already.
Yeah, that's not good.
So it's almost like, no, count your stats in there. They'll start. I'm telling you, people care about their stats. Make those stats count and stuff like that in that tournament too. Their OBP towards the regular season, towards all the awards and things like that. So you never know if there's 2 guys going for a batting title on the line and that's the last tournament to do it. There's someone taking it serious.
And I'm telling you right now, it 100% is going to be more competitive this year. 100%. Just by the factor of the bonus points, right? Like that. Yeah. I think that is going to succeed. I'm just saying that if I were to add one thing out of that, then that bonus spot. But I like the idea now that tournament is going to matter for everybody because that's a huge thing. I mean, you can't, I don't think anyone, maybe one team here or there is going to be really locked in at a spot though, because at that point, I mean, that could be 100+ point swing, 200+ point swing. No one should be that ahead. I mean, maybe they are, but I'm saying it's going to make it certainly more competitive this year. I would love to hear your guys' opinion on this as well for the conference championships and the seeding, because let's just think like this. They said this on the hit and sit when they were kind of going through their teams. I mean, realistically, if this is major ifs here, okay? Every major team makes the Major World Series. That should happen, okay? We could probably check that one off. But of the AA teams, there's a lot of AA teams this year. There's a tremendous amount of AA teams, in fact. If every AA team made it and the major, from what we know, that would leave 3 spots. 3 spots for an A team or, the extremely rare B team that catches lightning, right? Yep. And that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. That's not a ton of spots. And also, I don't think, and you played with Seminoles, they're now AA team, and there's a lot of AA teams out there. Is it also realistic, I guess, that a AA team couldn't make it? I'd say yes, right? I mean, based on how this works this year?
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the biggest things, I think Todd was on there talking about it. I mean, a schedule means a lot. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going to go play 15 or 16 tournaments, I mean, the odds of you are making, unless you just suck at all 16, you're probably making the major. It's like his team was. I mean, they had a certain amount of tournaments with precision that year, and they didn't play a lot in the beginning, so they played a lot towards the end. So it really depends on what your sponsor's doing, what your schedule is like. I mean, you got 15 tournaments. I mean, you could suck. Only 7, now 8 only go into that. You could suck and go 0-2 in 2 of them, and it's not a big deal. But for example, us, I think we're playing how many tournaments we got going for?
We've got, let me see, including the duels here. Let me bring this up. So we've got, I'm going to count the duels obviously as 2, you know? So we've got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 tournaments before the conference championships. So that means we've got wiggle of 2.
Yeah, you got wiggle of 2, and some teams got wiggle of 4 or 5, depending on money, depending on where they're going. So I mean, a lot of that plays a factor.
And on the other hand, some teams have a wiggle of 0.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly.
I mean, so I'm saying, like, yeah, sure, you could play more, you got a better chance. And I've always said this too. I mean, like, this is our schedule. I don't plan on deviating from the schedule. We all know that. Everyone had to, got to do what you can to get off, and that's why we get our schedule out as early as humanly possible, right? But it also isn't to say, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I hope it doesn't. The chance of this is this much. But if it ever gets to a situation where it's like, hey, man, we really needed like one more somewhere to figure it out to get in there. Do you know what I mean? And like, not saying I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like if we could get it together and organize it. Like obviously we're hoping that's like plan Z, if we need to. But I certainly understand your point. It's like, do you have a better chance of buying 9 lottery tickets, 7 lottery tickets, or 15 lottery tickets?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I've seen teams do that too. I've seen teams deviate from their schedule, or I've seen people like they know they're locked in and they're kind of like, all right, well, we might not need to go to this event this time. And though I've seen people get out of events because they know they're kind of locked in and they're good to go. So, I mean, it just all depends on how your season's going, right? I mean, you're having a good season, you ain't got to do much. If you're struggling in the beginning and you're trying to catch up at the end, I mean, yeah, it all depends.
Yeah, all hands on deck, and you got a lot going on. But, man, I got to tell you, it's going to be exciting, though, because I got to tell you, it's going to be I think they've done a good job here of really making this feel like a season. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really feels season-y versus just like a series of tournaments, if you will. Do you know what I mean? And so I like that approach. And, boy, just talking about it, getting me pumped, Jose. I'm getting ready for it. I'll tell you that much right now,
It's going to be fun. I see Richie's coming. Richie, we appreciate you for throwing this tournament every year too as well. So Richie, the guy, he's I think he's the state director for Louisiana. He's the one that throws the Trip Roth in. We appreciate y'all just giving us an environment for all the conference players to come in and just play a competitive event, because every conference player knows, I mean, it's tough sometimes in these playing locally and everything, and people like that just providing us that atmosphere just to play a conference-like event is always a good time.
Right. And maybe next year we could get our full team down there. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? We got time. We got time to do that. But Jose, I appreciate you being on, my man. Good luck here coming up at the tournament. Stay safe. Stay safe. Number one rule. Do you have any shouts or anything you want to mention on the way out?
Man, shout out. I'm wearing my boy Vlad's shirt. Shout out to Saucy. He's his clothing company. If you want to wear any clothing company, Vlad Gomez runs Saucy. Go Team Puerto Rico. World Baseball Classic starts tonight. Netherlands versus Cuba.
Let's go. Let's go. We're going to turn into World Baseball Classic. Jose, I appreciate you. This was episode number 73 of the Siteman Softball Podcast. A big thank you to Siteman Cancer Center and U.S. Bank Private Wealth Management for their sponsorship of this episode. Reminders, at Siteman Softball on Instagram, sitemansoftball.com/podcast, and Siteman Softball Nation on Facebook. All right, my friends. We'll see you next time. Bye.